standard deviation, first thing we gotta do is find the average of the data that we have. So I have like 49,900. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add them all up. 49,930 plus 51,100 plus 57,820. I'm just adding it on my calculator. Plus 61,290 plus 63,230 plus 63,440 plus 67,760 plus 68,210 plus 76,830 plus 79,280. Or in my calculator, once again, I just added all my numbers. In my result, I'm going to divide it by 10. And the reason why I'm going to divide it by 10 is because I have 10 numbers, right? So what I do for average, so we've known the word average. I'm going to start using a Greek letter called mu. So for average, I'm just going to add them all and then divide it by how many I have. So my average, it gave me 63,892. So first of all, for standard deviation, first of all, I find the average. All right. Now I'm going to use the average with each of my numbers. I'm going to go 49,000, my first number, 49,930 minus 63,892 and then square it. So when I go 49,930 minus, so I go my first number minus the average, I have negative 13,962. Square it. So that's going to give me 1949. I'm just copying the numbers. 49, 37, 444. Okay. I'm going to look at my second number. 51,130 minus the average and then square it. That's going to give me 1628 68644. All right, I'm going to do it to the third number. I'm just going to write down my result. So I'm going to the third number, 57,820 minus the average, square it, so multiply by itself. I have 3686. I'm just copying the digits. 3686 9184. Now let me do it again. I'm going to find my fourth number minus the average and then square it. I get 6770 404. Let me do it again. From the 63,230, let me subtract the average. Gives me negative 662. Let me square that. That gives me 4382. 44. Let me do it again. Now with the 63,440 minus the average, that gives me negative 452. Let me square that. That gives me 204. 304. Do it again with the 67,760 minus the average. That gives me 3,868. Let me square that. That gives me 1496. 1424. Let me do it again now with the 68,210. For space purposes, I'm going to write it up here. So 68,210 minus the average. That gives me 4,318. Let me square the answer. So I get 18645, 124. I do it to the 76,830, and I get 167391844. And lastly, for my last number, I get 236790544. Okay. So for each of my numbers, what I did, I subtracted each of my numbers minus the average, and then I square the result. So I have 10 new numbers. Let me highlight my 10 new numbers. Now let me find the average of those 10 numbers. So I'm just going to add them all up and then divide it by 10. And that's what we're going to call the variance. We're almost there. Variance, a Greek letter, something we're going to use is going to be this. So the variance, so I get the average. I added them all, divided by 10 because there's 10 of them, and I get 8398 7716. We're almost there. And now that I have the variance, for me to find the standard deviation, I'm just going to write it up here. Standard deviation. Some people use this Greek letter. Notice how variance, they look very similar. Just the variance is squared. Standard deviation is to the 1 power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the square root of the variance. So once again, what I'm going to do for my standard deviation, I'm going to get the square root of the variance. Now, I'm going to round it up to 2 decimal places. So in this case, my standard deviation is going to be 9,164.48. Let me go through the steps what I did. First of all, I found from my list, I found my average. And I said I'm going to start using the letter mu. Looks like a U. It's just the one side is a little longer. I found the average. Then from each of my numbers, I subtracted the average and then squared the result. That gave me a list of 10 numbers, which is what I have highlighted. Then I got the average of those numbers, and that's what gave me the variance. For me to find the standard deviation, I'm going to have to get the square root of the variance. That's all I did. Let's take a look at question number 2. So my numbers in this case are 63. I'm just going to add them on my calculator. 63, 66, 68, 71, plus 71, plus 73, plus 73, plus 74, plus 76, plus 77, plus 80. So I added my numbers. I have 792. Now I'm going to divide it by, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 792 divided by 11, it gives me 72. So I'm going to say my average. Once again, I said start getting used to Greek letters. We call this mu. My average is 72. So I'm just going to do 63 minus 72 squared, that gives me 81. 66 minus 72 squared, that gives me 36. 68 minus 72 squared, that gives me 16. Now 71 minus 72 squared, that gives me 1. From a fact, I'm just going to write down my numbers. So I have 81, 36, 16th. Then I have 4 ones. Then I have a 4. Then I have a 16, 25, and 64. So I have this new list. For each of them, remember what I did? I went each numbered minus the average and square. So 63 minus 72 squared, 66 minus 72 squared, 68 minus 72 all squared, 71 minus 72 all squared, 71 minus 72 all squared, 73 minus 72 all squared. So each of them. So it gave me that list. Now I'm just going to add them all up. So I add my new list. So 81 plus 36 plus 16 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 4 plus 16 plus 25 plus 64. It gives me 246 divided by 11. Because remember, now I'm finding the average of these numbers. So my variance, right, the average of these numbers, right, I added them all. It was 246 divided by 11. It gives me 22.36364. Yada, yada. Okay. Now, for standard deviation, that's my Greek letter for standard deviation. I'm going to have the square root of what my number here. So the square root of 22.36364, it gives me 4.729. So I'm just going to run it to 2 decimal places. I'm going to call this 4.73. Not too hard. Let's take a look at question number 3. We're looking at some information about the land areas of U.S. state territories. All right, so I'm just going to use a calculator. I'm going to add 19,047. So 19,047 plus 23,871 plus 62,259 plus 92,789. I'm just adding my numbers. Plus 102,279 plus 125,920 plus 148,959 plus 177,660 plus 251,470 plus 294,207 plus 314,161. All right, so I added my numbers, and it gave me 1,612,622. All right, so my average is, right, the 1,612,622 divided by 11. And the reason why it's divided by 11 because there's 11 numbers. All right, so it gives me that my average is 146,602. The average is 146,602. So my first number, I'm gonna go 19,047 minus 146,602. I get negative 127,555. Square it, and let's see, my digits are 1627, 0278, 025. For my next number, I'm gonna go 23,871 minus the average. That gives me negative 122,731. I'm going to square this, and I have 1506, 2898, 361. I'm just going to write down the list of numbers that I have. I have 7113, 7416, 49. See, my fourth number, I know they're kind of big, but we have calculators for these. My fourth number is 28958, 38969. 289,583,89,69. Okay. The next number is 19,645. 19,645. 28329. My next number 4277. 45124. My next number is 5555449. My next number is 9645. 99364. My next number is 1099. 7297. 424. My next number is 21,787. 23. 6025. My last number is 28,076. 0184. 81. All right. So once again, for me to get each of these numbers, what I did was each of my numbers, so the amount, the area for New Jersey, minus the average and then square it. The area for Vermont minus the average and square it. The area for West Virginia minus the average and then square it. The area for Indiana minus the average and square it. The area for Virginia minus the average and squared. So each of those numbers, that's what I did. And then let me get the average of these numbers. So I'm just going to add them all up. What I'm going to do once again from my list of numbers, I'm just going to add them all up, divide them by 11. That's how I figure out the average of this. And it gives me 95, 96, let's see, 95, 96, 88, 5200. That's my variance. Now get the square root of that. Get the square root of that. Run it to two decimal places. I'm going to write 97,963.69. When you type it, you just have to type in the number. So 97,963.69. Now, lastly, let's take a look at example 4. There's some information, the age, also Nobel Prizes. So what I'm going to do, once again, I'm just going to add my numbers. 17 plus 46 plus 53 plus 56 plus 59 plus 61 plus 63 plus 68 plus 70 and then plus 80. So I get 573. When I added my numbers, I get 573. So the average is 57.3. All right. Once again, I added all my numbers, 573, divided by 10 because there are 10 numbers. So my average is 57.3. For each of my numbers, I'm just going to go 17. So each of the numbers minus the average. So that gives me negative 40.3. Square it. And I have 1,624.09. For my second number, I'm going to go 46 minus 57.3. That gives me negative 11.3. Square it, and I have 127.69. For my third number, I'm going to go 53 minus the average. That gives me negative 4.3. Square it, so I have 18.49. For my next number, I get 1.69. For my next number, I get 2.89. For my next number, right, 61 minus the average, and then square it, I have 13.69. For my next number, I have 32.49. For my next number, I have 114.49. For my next number, I have 161.29. And for my last number, 80 minus the average squared gives me 515.29. All right, if I add them all up, I have 2,612.1. So the average of that, I'm going to say the variance. The variance is the average of my numbers that I have highlighted. The variance is 261.21. Once again, the average of my numbers that I have highlighted, I just added them all up, divided by 10. That gives me the variance. So my standard deviation is the square root of my variance, rounded to 2 decimal places. I'm going to call this 16.16.